Hi guys, it's me. I'm trying to get my phone set up here so I can do a quick video. Had another comment on a video I did. This comment, again, this is Rusty 78609, Central Texas, USA. It shows it's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's about, right now, about 70 degrees. Perfect. Perfectamundo. And anyway, this comment that I'm going to respond to here comes from a video I did today, the real news, one of my biggies. I don't get many views on those. I got one black, it looks like I got one black eye, but it's just the light. There's no light coming through here. But anyway, yeah, the name of the video is the real news, question mark, question mark, question mark, and then maybe, because it's just me doing videos to stay busy. And anyway, I got a comment though, and this is about RVing, full-time RVing. I've done several of those because I full-time RV. I've been full-time RVing for 22 years. This is an RV around me right now. This is my studio in a 26-foot Jayco J-Flight, and I love it. It's good for me. So here it is. Comment. Rusty, I have a 24-foot Chinook RV and am interested in dry camping, but my batteries are dead. Any suggestions on batteries? Also, is there a public land in Texas to dry camp? I would like to spend some time in the middle of nowhere with no light pollution so I can enjoy the night sky. Well, you came to the right place, my friend, because, again, thank you for the comment. I appreciate it. It just so happens that old Rusty, a few years ago, lived and owned property out in far west Texas near Big Bend National Park. It's about where I was about 80 miles south of Alpine, Texas. Population Alpine about 5,000. Elevation about 5,000. And I owned 20 acres of land out there on the Terlingua Ranch. And elevation there was a little over 3,000 feet, which was okay. It gets a little warm in the summer, but fall, winter, spring was great. So anyway, as to dry camping, we'll stick with that one first. There are not many areas in Texas for dry camping. There just aren't. Now you can do a Google search. It's been a while since I did the dry camping thing, and there may be some things that have come available. So I suggest a Google search for dry camping, or check with some of these camper groups and get in a forum, and possibly you can stir something up there. Now on the Terlingua Ranch, all of that land is owned, and again, it's a beautiful place to observe the night sky. The light pollution there is virtually zero. In fact, they have the Davis Mountains north of Alpine, Texas, is the McDonald Observatory, and the reason it's there is because the night sky is not light polluted. So in that region, you're going to be able to do a lot of stargazing. I did it. I lived out in the desert for 2 years on the Terlingua Ranch. Now back to dry camping. You can probably check at Big Bend National Park. They may have some areas where you can go what they call boondocking or dry camping. You could contact Terlingua Ranch directly. You could actually call them on the phone. It wouldn't show on their website, but you can call them on the phone. Just do a Google search for Terlingua Ranch, and it'll give you a phone number right there. You can call them and see if there's any places to dry camp there. They have at the Terlingua Ranch headquarters, which is off of Highway 118, about, I don't know, 6 or 7 miles. The last 3 miles are a little rough, but they do that intentionally to keep people from coming down there all the time. They want to keep it private. And but they also have, they have RV hookups there, and they also have tent sites, and they're very inexpensive. I think the tent sites were $7 a night, and or five, it may be, and then RV full hookup. I don't know what they are because I never used a full hookup out there. I dry camp, and it is a beautiful place to observe the night sky, beautiful sunsets, beautiful sunrises. It's a desert. It's dry. Air is going to be, humidity is going to be anywhere from 8 to 20%, and everywhere in between. It's going to be dry. And this time of the year would be a great time to be out there right now, actually. Would be great. Now, you can also camp at, there is a place near in the Davis Mountains called Davis Mountains Resort. And you can do a Google search for them and get their phone number and contact them. And they have a place to camp there, and you can check with them. I'm not too sure about dry camping, but they've got a camping spot there. You can also check at there's a state park there, Davis Mountains State Park, I think it's called. I could be incorrect on. I believe it's Davis Mountains State Park, Texas State Park, and again, that's just your normal state park. But out there, they do not allow light pollution even in the cities. I mean, the lights in the towns have special bulbs and stuff to prevent that, because a lot of people come there for the reason you want to go there, and that's to observe the night sky. Another place you could check, of course, you can check with the Fort Davis Chamber of Commerce. They might be able to help you in that area. The Alpine Chamber of Commerce in Alpine, or a third one. There's a little town there called Marfa, Marfa, and you can check there with them at the Chamber of Commerce, and that's always a good place to start, because they might be able to point you in the right direction just right off the bat. And because right near Marfa, they've got a place you can pull over and observe what are called the Marfa Lights. It's kind of like the Aurora Borealis in the northern hemisphere, and or the Northern Lights, and but it's on a much smaller scale. It's caused by atmospheric conditions, the best they can tell. It doesn't happen all the time, but when the conditions are right, I've seen the little balls of light myself, and they're different colors, and it's really interesting. I mean, and they have a place you can actually sit there in your RV in the evenings or at night, and actually you can stay there all night. I'm sure. You could dry camp. I'm sure you could dry camp right there. As a matter of fact, and they got restrooms there, and. The next question you had was about batteries. Boy, that is always a pain in the ass when you're trying to dry camp. Now, I know they've come a long way on solar, but I'm telling you, when I was out when I first went out to the Terlingua Ranch, of course, I acquired 20 acres of land. You can buy land out there for $200 an acre, $250. I bought mine for 130 and sold it for 250. So. So it's cheap, but it's nothing there. There's no improvements. There's no water, electric, nothing. You can buy places that have that, but that's probably not the reason you want to go there. You want total seclusion, and you can find it. And but anyway, while I was out there, before I was going to try to dry camp. And I got first of all, I tried a generator. I had a little Honda generator, the smaller one. It was really quiet, and I would run it in the evening, starting just before dark, maybe for 2 or 3 hours before I went to bed, and then I'd cut it off. You'd think that would be enough to keep the battery charged. Well, guess what? It wasn't. Then I thought, well, I'll try solar. So I bought I think it was like a 50-watt solar panel. And out there you get a hell of a lot of sunlight. I mean, I'm telling you, you get at least 6, 8 hours of sunlight every day. Now, there will be a few days in the fall and winter that are overcast, but 95% of the days out there, there's a lot of sunlight. You would think solar would work perfectly. So anyway, I bought this solar panel and hooked it up so it would drip charge the battery. Didn't work. So with that in mind, I just let the damn battery go dead. And I just didn't use any power. Okay, I mean, I had the generator, and every now and then I'd run it if I wanted. And when I tried to I had a satellite dish, I think it was DirecTV or something, and I tried that for a while, and finally I thought, what the hell? I'm working myself to death for this crappy ass programming, so I got rid of that. And once you get used to no TV, The only radio you got is in your car. Uh, it ain't bad. It's not bad at all. You actually your blood pressure goes down. You sleep better at night without all that interference. In fact, sometimes I think about going back out there and living today. But as far as a solution to your battery drain, I can tell you what's causing it. Now, it's not going to be, now if you got, if you try to run a TV or you try to run lights and so forth, if you go with the LED lights, that'll help you a little bit, not much. The biggest drain is that damn refrigerator controller right there. That little electronic controller is the biggest drain. I'm telling you, I don't know how many watts it uses, but it drains the crap out of that battery. So what I ended up doing is once every 3 or 4 days, I would go into the little town nearby called Studi Butte and pick up one bag of ice, and then I would put it in a trash can liner, double bag it, and then put it in the refrigerator in the bottom, in where you put the vegetables and stuff in the very bottom. I'd cram it in there, and then shut the refrigerator, and that would keep stuff cool for about 3 or 4 days. It worked pretty good, so I was satisfied with that. A lot of people wouldn't. It was really primitive, and as far as using the restroom, there's a whole world out there, folks. You dig your little hole with a shovel and take you one of those little, what I used was I had one of those little camping toilets. It's just a lid that you fold it out, and it's got these little legs that hold it up, and you just sit on that thing and poop and then pee, and hell, that ain't a problem for a guy. You just pee anywhere. So none of that was a problem, and it was nice. Once you get into it, it'll work. Now, if you want to watch TV, if you feel like you got to have internet access all the time, then that's going to be difficult. Your cell phone will probably work out there now. It did when I was there, but barely. Okay, you had to be a certain place to pick up a signal, and I marked the spot with a big post. I dug a little hole and put some rocks around this post so I could find this spot and go talk on the cell phone or check internet. And but it was slow because you didn't get back then. It's been a few years ago. You didn't get 3G or anything. You got maybe 128 megabytes, and that was it. But it was okay because I wasn't doing much anyway. And of course, the little town of Alpine is full service. They got grocery stores, restaurants. If you need your car repaired, you got that. But you're in a Chinook, and that's a little motorhome. So what I would caution you on is if you're going to go dry camping anywhere in the Big Bend area, and you're going to get off on these gravel roads, because there's a hell of a lot of, there aren't many, other than the main highways, there are not a lot of paved roads out in the rural areas of West Texas. They're just not. So you're going to be on gravel roads. Just be sure your tires are in good shape, and that you have a service that will get to you out there. Because I can't remember what mine was. I had a roadside service, and I had a blowout on my truck. I didn't want to fool with it because I was at my land, and I called them, and they'd send somebody. Finally, they called me back. They couldn't find anybody. All right. And that didn't really surprise me. So anyway, I did have a spare, and I changed it and so forth. And that was the end of that crap. Worked out okay. But just as a caution, be aware of that. As far as water, not a problem. You can, of course, buy bottled water in Alpine. And you can also go to the Terlingua Ranch and buy water for like 15 cents a gallon for taking a shower in. You just have to bring the container. And, you can just take it. The way I just take a gallon bucket and pour it over me, and little whore's bath. And I was good to go. I did it for 2 years, And if it looked like a rain shower was coming, I'd put up a tarp. I had 4 little old posts I'd hook them on, and it would catch maybe 15 or 20 gallons of water right there, rainwater. And I'd use that for a while to bathe in. I never drank it. You could have, but I didn't. And but anyway, I hope I've answered some of your questions about dry camping. Dry camping is great. It really is. If you find a nice place that's private, and the Terlingua Ranch is good, very good for that. If it was me, since I know the Terlingua Ranch area, it wouldn't bother me a bit to pull off out in there somewhere and camp all night and never ask anybody. Why? Because there's 240,000 acres there. You got me? And little roads going here and there, and people own little tracts of land that they haven't been to in 20 years. They bought it because they got out there in the Big Bend area. They thought it was beautiful, and they just bought it on a whim, and now they can't get rid of it. And they also have a property owners association. So if you decide to buy some property out there, just remember you're going to be tagged about 150 a year in addition to your property taxes to just have the land. And that was one of the things that was always my biggest complaint. I had 20 acres, and I had to pay the same property owners association fee as a guy that had 2,000. I didn't like that. So anyway, enough said about that. Check out the Calingua Ranch and some of those other areas out in West Texas. Now in my area in Central Texas, none. Not any that I'm aware of. You know, there'll be places where you can tent camp, and you can pull your RV in there and tent camp. And of course, there's the state parks. But as far as dry camping and enjoying the night sky, like I believe you said you wanted to do, then you need to be out in West Texas. You will certainly. In fact, your comment got me to thinking about how really beautiful it is out there. It is. I'm telling you, it is just wonderful. You just have to be self-contained. That means water, food, everything, because there's not a lot. Of course, Alpine you can stock up. Studi Butte, the little town, kind of at the entrance to Big Bend National Park, they have a few things. They'll have ice, beer, maybe bottled water, but it's going to be pricey as hell because they are in the middle of nowhere and they got you. I mean, you're going to pay 50% higher than you would anywhere else. But be that as it may, thank you again for the comment. I certainly appreciate it. It gives me a reason to do a video. And, once when people start making comments, then I can do what I call the never-ending chain of videos. It gives me a reason to do a video, and possibly some other people have the same question you have, which more than likely they do. And but anyway, I'm going to post this comment, and I'll probably post it under full-time RVing, or I'll probably title it Dry Camping. And so if you want to watch it, you'll be able to find it that way. Well, if you're watching it, you found it, didn't you? I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. Yo. Anyway, thanks for your comment, dude. Thumbs up. Adios. Bye-bye.